Hi guys, Jared Dennison here. I just wanted to introduce myself again in case you didn't get to see any other previous videos. But what you're watching right now is the realities of real estate, and we like to go over common misconceptions in real estate, myths about real estate, and break those with like a Mythbusters style. Get people on the show that are involved in real estate in different aspects, not just realtors and agents. And then of course we like to cover main topics for you guys as consumers of how does this process actually work, what's a lie and what's the truth, and then what's the gray area in between. So thanks for joining us again. Today we are going to be talking about selling your home as a FSBO. Why would you want to do that versus why wouldn't you want to do that? And we'll go kind of deep, but again, I'll leave it open for you guys to be able to comment or reach out to myself or anybody else on our videos for questions related to this topic. Regarding selling for sale by owner, the number one question that I wrote down, at least in a chronological order as to how that process would be determined, would be number one, what do you sell for? So let's say you've decided, hey, I'm gonna sell my house. Well, what do you sell for? That's a huge part of determining whether or not you can sell your house on your own. If you don't know what to sell the house for, you're either gonna do one of two things. You're gonna overprice it, in which case you're not going to get people to come through and people aren't going to want to buy it, and then you're going to have to decrease the price. And not only that, but you've also set up yourself for a situation where you thought you were going to make X amount and now you're going to lower your price and you're going to make Y amount. And then the second thing that you've done by not being able to determine the correct price is if you do the opposite, you underprice it. Well, now you've left money on the table when you could have priced it higher and gotten more money in your pocket. So there's always this delicate balance of what's happening with the price, and it's very much determined on how the market is at the exact same time you're trying to sell. So if you're trying to do a for sale by owner, consider using an agent, if for no other reason than the first reason, which is how to determine price. That one thing alone might end up costing you what it would have been to pay an agent to do it for you. Number two, who do you sell to? That's a great question. If you're selling it by yourself, how do you know where to market it or how to market it? Who are your buyers? Where do you post your information? Of course, you can post to the major sites, right? We all know them. The Zillow, the Realtor.com, all that good stuff. But outside of that, where would you sell? You could place the sign in the yard, of course, but then we go into more topics, which I'm going to cover in a second. You can have people drive by, constantly blowing up your cell phone with text, emails, or calling you and interrupting your workday. And you can also end up in a situation where you're not even sure who those people are and pose a pretty big security risk to who comes through your home. So another major question you want to ask yourself when you are a for sale by owner is, if I was going to sell on my own, who would I sell to? And how would I find them? Number three, how do I handle showings? It's a great question. Let's say you are able to get your right list price. Awesome. Let's say you found your buyers. You're already doing better than most for sale by owners. You've knocked those things out of the park. Now you've got a bunch of people that want to see your house and you've scheduled the showings. Well, how? How do you schedule those showings when you are working full time? Let's say you're working 9 to 5 and you're getting requests for showings. Are you able to monitor your phone 24/7 and make sure that those people that are requesting for an hour from now can get into the house? Do you just put a lockbox code online for anybody to enter your property willy-nilly? Or do you have a certain set of parameters to make sure that you know when and where people can go into your home, how to monitor them coming in and out, and making sure it's done in a safe and effective process to where you can still request feedback from them, as well as monitor their activity while they're going in and out of your home, if not inside. Something to think about. Number 4, how do I verify proof of funds? Let's say you've accounted for steps 1, 2, and 3. You've got it listed at the right price. You found a bunch of buyers. You managed to schedule showings somehow and got enough people through to where you've got an offer. Now they've sent you an offer with a pre-approval letter from a bank. How do you verify that pre-approval letter? And how do you make sure that you know that that price covers what they need to include for your particular home and that they can close and fund on the loan? Because after all, the most important part is whether or not you get paid. I would submit to you that having a realtor or an agent on your side that knows how to ask those questions and knows how to vet that pre-approval, call the lender, and ask the correct questions is paramount in making sure that your deal actually closes. Number 5, what now? You've completed steps 1 through 4. Now let's say you figured out how to vet them and you think they're gonna close. Where do you take the contract? I'm sure you can Google online and find out that you need to use a title company, but without having a paramount understanding of what the title company does for you and what the steps are from contract from start to finish, how do you protect yourself from not defaulting on the contract? And how do you make sure that the buyer doesn't default on their portion? When do you know whether they're doing the right thing or the wrong thing? When do you know when it's crucial to get an update and when things are going smooth? That kind of stress is worth something. And these are the kinds of things that realtors get paid to alleviate. You won't have to think about those things. We think about it for you. Does this really save me time and money? In some cases, of course. Otherwise, there'd be no such thing as for sale by owner. But in most cases, by most estimates, it's somewhere between 90 and 85% of the time, it's not worth it to use a for sale by owner versus using an agent. Usually, the amount of money, time, and energy that you spend trying to do all the previous tasks you mentioned are far outweighed by the correct price that the realtor sells it for, the timeliness in which they do it, the safety in which they conduct that, and the way that they handle the contract from start to finish. Not to mention the fact that their connections with local title companies and being able to vet lenders may very well be the difference between closing and not closing, or paying major fees and paying minimal fees. That's all I have for you guys today. That's just a very small snapshot of a for sale by owner of why you would or wouldn't want to do that. And if you have further questions or you want to dive in or argue even on the topic, I'm completely open to that. Please feel free to reach out to me. You can find me in the comments or at the end of this video.